Has the void ever stared back at you? I'm sorry, B, if you have never heard of Nietzsche. He was a philosopher. Look him up. He was a genius and had original theories. I'm just really bored with the meaning of life, happiness, death, time, etc. I want creative, original questions, mind-blowing theories from geniuses. Where are you guys hiding? The honest answer is, no one really knows for sure how important, or even why this is. However, theory in terms of the universe and cosmic voids, it may be as simple as the fact that the billions of galaxies are moving so fast away from each other, which now has been happening since the Big Bang, that the voids are just too vast to be filled by dark matter alone, thus causing voids, nothing. What is the importance of emptiness? The universe is 99.9% empty. Objects are actually made of atoms, which are usually empty too. Why? In terms of atoms, however, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle tells us the forces between electrons travelling around the nucleus cause a vacuum in which an apparent nothing exists. That the actual act of nothing itself doesn't exist, as gravity still exists in a vacuum, so there can't be nothing. A little boring, I know, but correct as far as I've been taught. To show you that you are made of emptiness, out of emptiness we find use. A cup is useful, not because of the walls, but of the emptiness it holds. You can walk through a door because it is empty. You live in the space of a room. You can abide there because it is empty. Your mind is like space. It is originally empty. You can have thoughts in it because of the emptiness. You can have a block of wood, but you cannot make any use of it unless you put something on it, under it, or create a hole in it to put something in it. Otherwise, it is just a block of wood, a useless thing. That's why teaching has become a tradition of the world. You are putting information into a person. When you cannot put information into that person, you say they cannot learn. It is because they are full of other things that they cannot learn more. When they are empty, they can learn anything. Emptiness doesn't mean blank or void. It means unobstructed, or unimpeded, or spontaneous. It is also roughly synonymous with impermanence or fleetingness. The Buddhists say that reality is empty, or absolutely enduring, that you can hold on to for the security or support. The whole point is not to grasp the mirage, but rather to let go, since there's really nothing to hold on to anyway. So we know that emptiness can be filled up with man-made creations, perhaps, or simply to distinguish between empty and full. Emptiness has no importance. Emptiness is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is form. Form is emptiness. It is as simple as that. Do you mean metaphysical emptiness? Or something else? When you look deeply into the void looks deeply into you. The answer is best experienced, then told. Without it, we won't have any places to put our stuff. You'll be able to fill it up better. All that space for renovation. What is the meaning of life? It's an old question, but I want to see if people come up with new answers. Ecclesiastes makes it clear that the purpose of life is for humans to fear the true God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole obligation of man. This doesn't mean that we should fear God the same way that you would fear a wild animal or a violent person. Him like a child fears displeasing his parents, because of the disappointment they would feel. Since we were created by God, it only makes sense that the purpose of life would be spiritual. Many have expressed that even having a higher education, money, possessions, and a good family cannot fill the void that they feel. However, Those who understand the Bible and apply what it teaches have said that they feel full and happy, and that their life has meaning and purpose. Let's suppose there is a rubber ball of blue colour that weighs around 100 grams, and that is all that exists in the universe. Then I would presume the entire space of the universe would only be the size of that ball, with all its space occupied by the presence of the ball. Now, for a red ball to exist, it has to be positioned somewhere else, maybe some distance away from the blue ball, or right next to it. But in either case, if there has to be more than two things in existence, there has to be space in existence too. Space signifies that there are more than one thing in existence, and at least two at a time. One Bible aid that I have enjoyed is a book called What Does the Bible Really Teach? It does not replace the Bible at all, but breaks down the Bible in a topical format and directs you to your own Bible. For example, the first chapter is, What is the truth about God? So it will only discuss scriptures that have bearing on the subject. You can actually read this book online for free at http://watchtower.org/e/bh/article0. Well, don't listen to those dumbasses telling you Jesus is going to help you. Take some initiative, and don't worry about being fucked in the head and weird. In Hollywood are weird and fucked in the head also. So start writing things, and you will get better at it. So what if you never took drama classes? They don't teach you shit anyways. Audrey Hepburn never took drama, and she is a fucking icon. Not valid or legally binding, the contract was void. Of speech or action, ineffectual, useless. All the stratagems you've worked out are rendered void. Completely empty, free from lacking. Masterpieces of literature are now void of meaning. Vacant, having been dealt no cards in a particular suit. It may mean either empty or cancelled, depending on the context. In the universe, there are several large void areas, but they are not really matter-free places. They extend tens of thousands of million light years wide, between galactic clusters. Real void space is located outside of our universe. I believe our universe occupies a tiny volume within endless space. Space can never be truly empty. Space is full of virtual particles, force fields, etc. Presence of matter bends space. Space is not nothingness. Rather, it's the fabric that the universe is made of. No. Besides large things like planets and so forth, there's other stuff floating out in space, like background radiation, cosmic rays, etc. Space is the absence of any matter. There are blobs of matter within it, but it is all around. So yes, space is a void, not including the stuff in between. Hydrogen likely occupies most of space, but space is, for the most part, pretty empty. I am not religious. God is the universe, and all its wonders are his creation. If all the wonders cease to exist, then there will be only God. Actual space is void. Ergo, space is God, and God is space. Considering the Big Bang Theory, where did it all begin? In space. The gravitational fields, radion, etc., in space, is caused by all those wonders floating around. Everything in the universe is energy. Take a look at your hand under a microscope. You will see a mass of energy vibrating. Same if you look at a wall with a powerful microscope. Everything, your car, the sun, the moon, the ocean, the stars, money, is all energy. Nothing is solid though. They appear to be solid. Ask any quantum physicist No one knows what space really is. How can it be a void if it contains black holes? No. I'm clueless. If space beyond the Earth is void and empty, one assumes it cannot transfer its heat there. That would be an incorrect assumption. The Earth radiates its heat out into space, the radiation link below. If you could turn the sun off for a few days, you'd quickly become convinced about how important that cooling mechanism is. The Bible answers all of these questions, but it can seem intimidating trying to find the answers in such a big book. Some have expressed that they want to study the Bible, but the book is so big and studying it just seems too daunting a task. It can be compared to having instructions to find a valuable treasure, but the instructions are written in a language that you have little understanding of. To guide them, some have given up and decided to just allow religious leaders to tell them what their understanding of spiritual things is without using the Bible. However, persons who do so have expressed that they still don't understand the Bible, and the only answers they have received to their troubling questions is that God and his ways are a mystery. It is important for each person to study the Bible for himself. Sure, it will take effort and time, but it's not as hard as people think. What is the something without nothing? How can you take away absolute value and existence from something to make it nothing? Its existence, or abolish it, or wait, if the something has always been present, making it continuous. What defines the beginning, and what defines the end? What can be without beginning or end? The expected answer is time, and maybe space. Is existence finite? You said that if nothing exists, nothing is without beginning or end, and I think of existence to be limited, having an end and beginning, making it something instead of nothing. Nothing is infinite. Maybe nothing is continuous, and something is present in this continuous nothing, creating a beginning and end, giving it a finite value. But the way you said how something can come from nothing, wow, I really like the way you thought into it. Thank you for putting that up. I like the other useless and repetitive questions people have been asking. I like this one, even if I can't fully comprehend it like you. Charamia and Socrates, how can something void, nothing, have a beginning and end? You can't assume the beginning of something is the beginning of nothing. And if you believe the mind to be finite, where is the logic and comparison of nothing coming from? If the conscience is finite, that doesn't make nothing finite, because nothing would be a concept conceived by the mind, and the mind is capable of comprehending infinity. Bad example, but calculus deals with infinity like a number, but at the same time it's different than a number. I just don't see what you're saying. Could you expand on that? To give nothing a beginning and end is to make that nothing something. The voices within, 321. You are correct. For the next 10 years they will insist you are wrong. Then you will discover the true rotation rate of the universe and claim they thought it up when you knew it all along. I was reminded of the total perspective vortex from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The human mind can't really fathom the depths of the vastness of our universe, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, would you really want to grasp fully just how insignificant our little planet is in the grand scheme of things? It's rather depressing if you stop and really think about it. You'd best just go and watch American Idol to take your mind off of it. Wow. I haven't heard anything about this. Do you have a link or something? Sounds fascinating. Let me tell you, it all seems so simple to me. I mean, really, if we happen to be here in the Milky Way, and if there really is all that space, then so what? Sorry. Hi. I'm Jubea. Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm a scientist, a religious man, and an open-minded thinker. What the scientists portray to us as undeniable truth, then sure, I'll take their word for it, with a pinch of salt, of course. In the Quran, it warns civilizations to be careful in their interpretations. Don't think you will ever know the secrets that make up existence, except by Allah's leave. So really, maybe there is all that space, or maybe there isn't. I mean, satellites can't really go beyond the Milky Way, can they? I mean, most astrophysical and cosmological stuff is based on maths. Even though they say that maths never lies, there is still human error. Also, have you heard that recently? Einstein's E equals mc squared. I mean, they say that it's not entirely true. Einstein, back in the ancient times that he was alive, had to invent a factor in order to make his equation work. Now they have found that indeed, he was right in the first place. It's crazy. My brother is a freak about these things. Your last statement says it all. No matter how much we think we have learnt about the universe, we will always have more questions than answers. It's mind-blowing, man. The thought that you could just keep going and never ever reach the end. What was there before the nothing? Was it nothing? If I travelled to the edge of the universe, what would be the other side? If I wound down the window as I travelled the universe and stuck my arm out, what would happen? Under the assumption it was safe to do so. How could I put my hand into nothing? What a great question. Here's what I think. Driving to the edge of the universe is like driving out of the city to the country. When you start, there are small side streets and pedestrians and cars to navigate, much like leaving your solar system. Once out of the solar system, city limits, you have less cars, pedestrians, and obstacles to pass, like the area in between solar systems within the galaxy. Then you jump on the interstate and hit the gas. Soon, you're out of the suburbs and into rural life. Like driving across Iowa, nothing but corn. You travel across the universe and see very little of anything. Eventually, you take a dirt road to the middle of one of those cornfields and come to the end of your journey, the edge of the universe. Now you can go further into the field, but there is more of nothing, much like the edge of the universe. I don't believe there is a wall that one will hit, just an infinite void. This is the most difficult thing for us to comprehend. How can there be nothing? There has to be something. I don't believe so. Do you expect to see traffic and pedestrians and clutter in the middle of an Iowa cornfield? But you haven't left the existence you started in. So if you open the car window and put your hand out into the city or in the cornfield, there really isn't any difference. Stick your hand out at the edge of the universe. It would be like doing it in low Earth orbit. Maybe, what if? When you reach the edge of the universe, you keep going, and there's the beginning of another universe. Its own music. Absolute nothingness. That's what's at the end of the universe. The universe is like a basketball, and we're on the inside. There's a point where you can't go any further forward. You can only go left, right, up, down, or backwards. Beyond the edge of the universe, there are no physical laws, because there is nothing for those laws to apply to. As to whether you could extend your arm beyond the edge of the universe, probably not. But nobody knows for sure. There isn't an end to the universe as such. Whatever direction you go in, after a while, a very long while, you'll end up back where you started. So you'll just be sticking your arm back into another patch of space. But outside of the universe, there is nothing. It is not possible to put your hand through the divide, because there is no divide. There isn't an edge, really. Travelling to the edge of the universe is the same as asking what would happen if you travel to the edge of the earth. There is no edge. If it would be possible to travel that long, you'd end up where you started. The edge of the universe is something that cannot be reached. We can calculate how big the universe is, but we can't reach the end of it, because the universe is all that there is. It can only have an end if there's something beyond it, and there isn't. This question makes me feel like our brains as humans are so insignificant. Anyone remember back when everyone thought the earth was flat? I can't wait until, hopefully, one day, in the future, someone discovers what's beyond us. We're trapped in such a little net of what we can't comprehend. What if the universe is like a country, the galaxy is like a state, and us, Earth, is like a city there, maybe more than just one country in. Whatever it is that's so much larger than us. It blows my mind to think of the possibilities. A mirror-like parallel universe with everything exactly the opposite. If you're right-handed, you would find a left-handed version of yourself. Your dog would be barking fra instead of arth. And if you have an outie belly button, your double would have an innie. You would believe in a supreme being that you are sure is in the other parallel universe and refer to it as heaven. Yes, some of those doubles have made it to our universe. It would be completely mind-blowing, and you would never believe anything anybody has ever told or taught you. So, I guess my answer is another universe. I don't think there's an end of the universe which a human can reach and see. If there is, I would say there will be an empty space with nothing but gases and other substances, or another world. The other side of the universe. It would be like you just appear on the other edge of the universe. According to Futurama, there's a scenic overlook there. You park your spaceship, get out, put a quarter into that big binocular thingy, and look through the eyepiece. Again, this is unconfirmed data, you understand. But what you will see is your exact duplicate, except that he wears a cowboy hat, looking through a binocular thing back at you from his parallel universe. It was on a cartoon, so it must be true. What side of the universe? There is not one. Lol. Well, they say that if you travel to one side, you would come back on the other side. So in theory, if you stuck your arm out the window, your hand would appear on the other side of space. Lol. On the other hand, pun intended, if you open the window, you would find death, as the vacuum we call space would suck the air out of you and you would shrivel up and die. The universe has no edge. There is no end of the universe. It keeps going on forever. George Bush's ancestors trying to create war. You would just be entering another universe. The start. Infinity and beyond. A sign saying, welcome to the Bioverse. Buckle up. It's our law. You'd be in Jersey. You'd find a Starbucks. Uranus. When you've never been loved, how do you fill the void? And what with? Hi. Without feeling sorry for myself, or making this complicated, the simple fact is that I have never been loved. My parents persistently told me they wish they never had me, as well as beating me and sexual abuse. My relationships have always been abusive, and I realised that I have never been cherished. I feel this lack of love like a heavy chain I carry with me during every waking moment. I never feel sorry for myself. People have no idea, as I'm always the one with a positive word and a smile. But the heavy chain is always there. I am now beginning to feel quite desperate. I do not trust anyone. Each time I do, it is betrayed. I simply want to feel loved. What can I do to lift the weight of the chain? Thank you. Dogs. Dogs are very healing. You seem to think that perhaps it was destined to be so unhappy. Perhaps you feel like you don't deserve to be happy, and find your own good and bad qualities. Then slowly turn the bad ones into good ones. Eventually, someone will recognize you for who you are. Then slowly allow them to get near you and trust them. Most importantly, love yourself before you start looking for it. What is really the advantage or benefit to knowing your current astrological transits as well as those ahead? And can you really better yourself or change anything by knowing? There is a wonderful quote of Noel Tyl. Planets do nothing. People do. I generally look at my transits about once a month and note the days that my productiveness may slide, and when I'm dealing with some heavy transits, I may lighten my commitments for that week or give myself some quality downtime. I do take special note of the void, of course, when booking public speaking events, also when booking certain days in my work. I also look at my solar return periodically. However, recently due to a Mars return, I'm going to pay a little attention to them. Of course, when it comes to return charts, you can only go to Saturn. The benefit in knowing it is how to pace yourself. If you know you are going to experience some hard transits, you now have a choice of how to deal with things. It is you making these decisions, not astrology. Astrology is a tool, like the weather report. If you know there is a blizzard coming late in the afternoon, hopefully you will have a little wisdom not to wear sandals and short-sleeve shirts to work that morning.